The sky above Earth was quiet, but the stars were watching. It had been almost 50 years since humans first met aliens. Back then, they were scared, confused, unprepared. Now, they were none of those things. Captain Daniel Harper stood on the bridge of the Starhawk, a heavy cruiser patrolling the edge of human space. He was a tall man with tired eyes and a steady voice. He had seen too many systems burn. He wasn't going to let Earth be next. Nearby, on Mars, Dr. Maria Lopez walked through an ancient ruin buried beneath red dust. She was smart, stubborn, and always asking questions. The ruins weren't human. They were older, much older, and they whispered secrets about weapons no one had seen in thousands of years. On Earth, President Kyle Bennett sat in his office, looking at reports that came in every hour. He had once fought in the outer colonies. He knew what war looked like before it even began. Now he saw it again, not with bombs or ships, but with silence. Deep space had gone silent. Sensors picked up something big moving toward them. No messages, no signs of life, just movement. Then the first attack came. A colony on Titan went dark. No warning, no distress call, just gone. Then another, and another. The enemy didn't talk. They didn't ask for surrender. They just destroyed. Humans tried to reach them. No answer. Their ships moved like storms across the stars, fast and deadly. Daniel Harper saw them first. Black ships shaped like blades, cutting through human defenses like paper. He barely made it out alive. Back on Earth, panic started to rise. People wanted answers. President Bennett gave them something else. He stood in front of the world and said, "They think we are weak. They think we will fall. They are wrong." Maria Lopez worked day and night. She believed the ancient weapon under Mars could help, maybe even change everything. Daniel gathered what was left of his fleet. He would not run. He would fight, and Earth, battered, bruised, and angry, prepared for war, not because they wanted it, but because they had no choice. The enemy was called the Varn hegemony. They came from beyond the stars and gave no warning. Their ships were black blades of metal, silent and fast. They struck human colonies with fire and silence. Earth had no time to mourn. Every day brought new reports of burning cities and lost ships. Titan was gone. So was Europa. Ganymede fought back but fell in the end. Captain Daniel Harper led what was left of the outer fleet. He knew they were outgunned. He knew they were outnumbered. But he also knew something else. Humans did not stop. On Mars, Dr. Maria Lopez worked without sleep. She believed the ancient weapon beneath the red dust could be the key. She had studied it for years. Now it might be Earth's only hope. President Kyle Bennett stood before the people again. His voice was low but strong. "We have been attacked," he said. "Not for peace, not for land, but for our end. We will not go quietly." He declared martial law. All military forces were on full alert. Factories ran day and night building weapons, ships, drones. Civilians joined the fight. Pilots, engineers, soldiers, even teachers and farmers took up arms. The Varn kept coming. They reached Jupiter space. Titan Station was the last defense line. Harper knew it would not hold long, but he also knew that every second bought Earth more time. He made a plan. It was risky. He would use the rings of Saturn to hide his ships, then strike fast from behind. His crew followed without question. They trusted him. Back on Earth, fear turned into fire. People were angry, not scared. Angry. They built walls, dug trenches, trained each other. Children learned how to shoot before they learned algebra. Maria sent word from Mars. The weapon was close to activation. Not ready, but close. Harper launched his attack. The battle at Titan Station was loud and short. Human ships jumped from hiding and hit the Varn hard. They didn't win, but they hurt the enemy, and they lived. It was the first time the Varn lost anything, and someone noticed. Out in the stars, among other alien worlds, some began to wonder. Maybe these humans were not just prey. Maybe they were something else. Something dangerous. The Varn thought Earth would break after the first attacks. They were wrong. Cities burned. Millions died. But humans did not stop. They fought back with fire, steel, and anger. Resistance groups rose from the ruins. In the outer colonies, miners and engineers turned old machines into weapons. They hit Varn supply lines, then vanished before help could arrive. On Earth, President Kyle Bennett stood tall even as bombs fell nearby. He spoke to the world again. They think we will. Neil, he said, we never do. He called for full war. Every factory built ships and guns. Every town trained soldiers. Even those too young or too old found a way to help. Captain Daniel Harper became a symbol. His raid on Titan Station had hurt the Varn. Now he led more ships. Not many, but enough. Dr. Maria Lopez finished her work beneath Mars. The ancient weapon was real. It was massive. She powered it up and tested it once. The test destroyed an empty moon. She sent a message, ready for use. Meanwhile, the Terran Pact formed. It was a new alliance of human worlds. They agreed on one thing: no surrender, no retreat. The Varn sent more ships. They landed on Earth's moon and tried to take it. Humans met them there with rifles, drones, and rage. The battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, not one Varn soldier was left alive. Word spread through the galaxy. Humans were not easy prey. They did not run. They did not cry. They fought until the end. And beyond Earth, other alien races began to listen. Some had lived under Varn rule for years. Now they saw a chance. They reached out to Earth. Not as enemies, not as slaves, but as possible allies. President Bennett answered. He told them, "Help us fight, and we will help you win your freedom." Some believed him, others watched and waited. But one truth was clear. Humanity was no longer just surviving. They were rising, and the Varn would soon learn what happens when you make war on a species that never backs down. The Varn were not used to losing. They came with more ships, more weapons, more soldiers. They thought Earth would fall like the others. They were wrong. Humans did not break. They fought harder. Across the stars, human worlds pushed back. Colonies that once traded goods now traded weapons and plans. Every planet became a battlefield. Every person, a fighter. Captain Daniel Harper led the fleet through deep space. His ships were damaged. His crew was tired. But they kept moving. They hit Varn supply lines, ambushed patrols, and vanished before help could come. He was no longer just a soldier. He was a symbol. On Mars, Dr. Maria Lopez watched as the ancient weapon fired again. This time at a Varn warship. It turned metal to dust in seconds. She knew it was powerful, but she also knew it would not win the war alone. President Kyle Bennett made a bold move. He reached out to other alien races. Many had suffered under Varn rule. He offered them freedom, if they stood with humans and fought back. Some laughed, some stayed silent, but some answered. A group from the Lyran system sent ships. Then the Koran rebels joined. Soon, a new alliance formed. Not under one leader, not under one flag, but under one idea. The Varn must fall. The first major strike came at a Varn core world. Harper led the charge. Human pilots flew alongside alien wings. Bombs fell like rain. Cities burned. And for the first time in history, the Varn lost a homeworld. Word spread fast. The galaxy began to change. Those who once feared the Varn now looked to Earth. They saw strength. They saw fire. They saw hope. Back on Earth, people cheered. Not because the war was over, but because they were winning. Children grew up hearing stories of battles won in the dark, of ships that flew faster than fear, of leaders who never backed down. And the Varn, they started to worry. Their generals argued. Their fleets slowed. Their enemies grew stronger every day. President Bennett stood once more before the people. "We are not just defending our home," he said. "We are building something new. something better. And across the stars, those who once had no voice began to believe him. The war was far from over, but the tide had turned, and humanity was just getting started. The Varn had no choice. They had to end this war before they lost everything. They sent one last offer: stop fighting, and Earth would be spared. It was not peace. It was surrender. President Kyle Bennett did not answer with words. He answered with fire. He stood before the world and said, "They came here thinking we were easy prey. Now we show them what happens when you make enemies of humans." The final battle began near Earth. The sky lit up with ships from 100 worlds. Human, Liran, Korin, and others fought side by side. The Varn threw everything they had left into the fight. Captain Daniel Harper led the fleet into the storm. His ship took hits. His crew bled. But they never stopped moving. They carved through enemy lines like knives through ice. On Mars, Dr. Maria Lopez fired the ancient weapon one last time. It struck deep into the heart of the Varn command fleet. Metal melted. Ships died. Fear spread. The tide turned fast. The Varn tried to pull back, but there was no place to run. Humans did not ask for mercy. They gave none in return. After hours of battle, the Varn flagship was destroyed. Their leaders were gone. Their empire cracked. In the days that followed, the remaining Varn forces surrendered. Their homeworld was placed under watch. Their weapons were taken. Their power was broken. Earth won. Not just the battle, the war, and the galaxy changed forever. President Bennett spoke again, not just to humans, but to all who had fought beside them. "This is not the end," he said. "It is the start of something new. We do not conquer. We do not rule. We protect. We stand together." New alliances formed. Old enemies became friends. The Terran Pact grew into a true interstellar force, not for conquest, but for peace built on strength. Children looked up at the stars and dreamed not of fear, but of flight. A young boy once asked an old soldier, "Did we really win?" "Do." Soldier smiled and said, "We didn't just win. We made sure no one ever tries again." And across the stars, every species knew one truth: never attack Earth, because humans do not lose.